We've reached the Falcons, and unlike the Eagles, it's not fly Falcons fly. They are not in a great situation. I mean, just the minute you think you have solved your defense, James Pierce commit potential NFL suicide, potential something that could lead him in jail. So that's not good. You also have, I would say, for the back-end investment, the worst room of quarterbacks in the NFL. Though you have balanced it with signing of Tua Tagovailoa, which is a crazy statement, but it's true. A lot of work needs to be done for the Falcons' future, and the worrying thing is the really great core, like your offensive line at start, it starts to age. And let's be honest, if I was Falcons GM, I would have rebuilt this year. I would have traded away several key pieces and tried to rebuild this thing because as of right now, I think they are trying to prolong something that is not working. But with that being said, here we are to their draft preview. If you just want my clear, easy to read draft need for this team with some scope of how I feel about them, you find it here. You don't have to watch further. But if you are draft psycho, if you want to know why I have these opinions, follow me on this journey when I will take you on like a 15-minute preview for your team to see where they should be heading, in my opinion, towards their draft. So let's start with their QB room. And as I said, in terms of how I do feel about this room, it's not very well. At the same time, this is not a room that they will invest in this year's draft, and neither they should. Let's be freaking honest. I think it absolutely needs to be an evaluation year for them. Is Michael Penix the guy? Is perhaps Tua somehow the guy? And I think answers to both questions are probably no, but this is what this year should be about. Are any of these guys our future franchise guy? And let's be honest, if they somehow lean on, yeah, it's Tua, I'm going to go freaking mental. Unless they will be really smart about his contract. If they do something that I feel like kind of caused it, Daniel Jones given up on by his original team, proved to play well, but they gave him such too much money. And with Tua, you have the added bonus in terms of his injury concern. So evaluation year, and I think the most likely answer to this room is going to be in 27, Falcons are drafting a quarterback. Right now, that's where we are. In terms of running backs, losing Tyler Argill sucks. It really does. I think not many people understand it, and a lot of people will be actually glad because they look at NFL in terms of fantasy, and there was Tyler Argill stealing Bijan's touchdown. But Bijan was crucial Tyler was crucial for where Bijan is right now, because for his longevity, not having to go on 3rd and 1, on goal line situation, where you're going to get freaking hit as much as the defenders can, is crucial for Bijan's longevity. So yes, they will go full blast Bijan mode, especially with the quarterbacks they have, Tua, master of short throws. So Bijan is going to get so much usage this year. I would still treat this room as a high tier free need, and especially I would love to get a guy that can do two things. Can be big and can block for passing situations, and just can give you the 1 yard. A guy that you will just run down on a grinded out situation. He has security of the ball, and he is big. That's my approach to this room. Anything else, it's Bijan's freaking time. And from a fan point of view, I want to see him play as much as possible. For his longevity, it's not the best though. Now, in terms of wide receiver, to me, this is kind of a clear tier 1 need. Even though, if you count Kyle Pitts as their starting slot corner and not their tight end, you may lower this to just a low tier 1, but at the same time, it's Drake London and who? Jahan Dotson? It's a reasonable swing to take. Did he prove in last couple of seasons to be more than wide receiver 4? I'm not so sure. Olamide Zaccheaus, wide receiver 5. There are bodies here. There is not enough quality opposite of Drake London. So even if you count Kyle Pitts much more towards this room, which I think is a fair assessment, still, you need to invest here. Speaking of Kyle Pitts, he is still here. They have franchise tag him, which was a smart move in my opinion. And they have Charlie Warner as a blocking presence veteran, and Austin Hooper, another usable veteran body, more of a pass catcher. For now, the room is absolutely workable. For 27, neither of these guys are under contract. They will get expensive, especially Kyle Pitts, and I would say the most reasonable approach, if you want to prolong Kyle Pitts, which definitely is within the realm of possibilities, you preferably don't want to pay someone like Charlie Warner $5-6 million a year. Not because he does not deserve it. I think Charlie Warner, for what he does, is a really great tight end. But I think you can get similar production of blocking specialist tight end from 4th or 5th round, and that's it, where I would be looking. So this lends to like high tier 3, low tier 2 type of need for them, because for now it's functioning. For future, I think you should start thinking about it. Now, in terms of their offensive line, starting with the interior, I think guard is fixed. Matthew Bijan, Chris Lindstrom, it's a great duo. At the same time, when I stated at the start I would definitely consider rebuild, it's because Matthew Bijan, last year of his deal, he's going to get freaking expensive. So do you actually prolong him? There is a question. And Chris Lindstrom, that would be one piece that, despite him being the best player on this roster after Bijan, I would have traded away this offseason. And here is why. Last year of his deal, he is not old, but he has a lot of miles under his belt in the NFL. He would fetch really nice package, in my opinion. I think end of round 1, I think that's what Chris Lindstrom fetch. And you could use the money you are paying Chris Lindstrom and even get something more out of it and pay Matthew Bijan for years to come. Because that would mean you are realizing that this is not actually a year we are necessarily competing. That's how I would approach it. They have both of these guys under contract, which means, we will have to wait and see how they feel about that. In my opinion, this is a room that you should approach with future concerns. So like high tier 3 or low tier 2, and really think about what's going to be there when potentially Matthew Bijan is not going to get prolonged. And as well, like adding a cheap backup would be nice, because I don't necessarily think the room has it. In terms of Ryan Nutzel, I really like what they have done with Drew Dalman, when it's like, well, we can get 80-90% of Drew Dalman in Ryan Nutzel for third of the price. Great thinking. And even though Drew Dalman was really freaking good for the Bears, Ryan Nutzel had his end of the bargain. At the same time, it's last year of his deal, and let's be fair, he's not going to be as cheap as he is right now entering next season. So you might also start to think about the future as well as a backup. So that's why it lands in high tier 3, which means a room that deserves your closer look. At the same time, spending a premium here would probably be a mistake, because you have it figured out, at least for this season. Now, let's shift towards the tackles. And here is where I would start to think in much more, yes, right now it feels fixed. Future does scare me. I mean, both of the guys are not the youngest. There is Caleb Bengary's health issues. He missed like pretty much the whole of last year. And again, like, do you necessarily trust the backups they have? I don't, which is something that Falcons kind of got away for several years, when they had like their starting 5 and pretty much almost nobody behind them that you would like. I think it's time to start to think about that and kind of reinvest in this room. So it ended as a low tier 2 need. If they approach this mentality with like a high tier 2 or mid tier 2, spending like their second round pick, I think they have more pressing needs and they don't have their first round, so it's probably not going to happen, but the room would deserve it. It's just not always you have the resources to cover everything. Now, speaking of their defense, why I don't have the 2 young edge rushers is because these are the guys that I will be using in my tier makers, and just let's face it, they are not in like top 40-ish edge rushers, which is approximately what I will be showing you. So they are not here. At the same time, they are obviously hugely relevant because they are first round investment from last year. The thing is, what will James Pierce's future in the NFL look like? We have absolutely no freaking idea. It could be he has played his final snaps in the NFL. It can absolutely be that. It's a possibility. I wouldn't say it has like over 5%, but it's not like under 1 in my opinion. In Jalen Walker, I think you have really nice future edge too. I don't think he's ever going to be the top end guy, but I think his first year was really great. And like same goes for James Pierce, but there's other concerns. Aziz Ojulari, Samson Ebokam gives you future, not future, right now proven veterans that like can play, and like together that would be a fine room. But you have questions about Pierce, and of course neither Ebukam or Ojulari are necessarily there for 27. So I will approach this with mentality of high tier 3, but here I would say we will be like we are too blind for making like a better judgment of the situation, just strictly because we just don't know. We know much less than the Falcons do in terms of James Pierce situation. So here is a little bit of a guessing. I approach this with like a reality of I think he's going to get like a half year of the ban, then he's going to come back, which means his career won't be like super closed, and that would justify not like spending super high resources here. So that's how I view it as of right now with the information I have. In terms of the interior, just like on the edge, it's not like they have not made investment, but here it's not necessarily off the field. What concerns me, it's on the field. Both Rucaro and Brandon Dorlus, like Brandon, I think has been like kind of fine. Rucaro, given that they have spent like they traded up, like they added some second round, like it was a crazy trade up, and the guy has absolutely not paid it at freaking all. So that scares me a lot. And even like if we could count as okay, let's give them years to develop, like you have kind of 3 DTs that I would not consider anything better than DT3, and that's even stretching it, and not really too much behind it. So even though there has been a lot of investment into this room, and with the picks that they don't have, they will probably like lure themselves into the thinking that yeah, we have invested, let's see what the guys are. Like we have seen it for 2 years, it's not pretty. So I would approach this with probably like low tier 1 mentality. At the same time, I landed as a low tier 2 because I tried to kind of put into my judgment what they will think about this room. I think the most rational will be like tier 2 or high tier 2 in terms of a need. Speaking of needs, linebacker. What do you think, guys? Is Divan Diablo a good starter? I think so. Behind that, they have tried by Troy Anderson, Christian Harris, and JT Bertrand. Like it's not like they have not made me believe that they are linebackers too. I'm not sure they are LB3. So even though there's bodies, I just don't see the quality. And probably yet another room that they will lure themselves like, okay, we kind of cannot approach everything, so they might not spend here. But here, I would say it would kind of specially be a mistake with a really interesting linebacker draft. I think you can find gems in round 2 and 3 that could give you a really nice LB2 right now next to Divine Diablo, and like finally kind of fix this room where I feel like for years they have been looking for that LB2 spot. So in my eyes, it's a high tier 2. The question is how they will view it. Now, we shift towards the secondary before we end this thing. Corner. I am lower on AJ Terrell than most of the people are. I think he is a solid number 1 outside corner. I don't think he's much more. I think in an ideal room, he's a CB2. I really do. I think he can absolutely function as a CB1, hence like I have him as an important starter. I don't think he's a bad player. At the same time, when you look at the numbers last year, it was really not pretty. Now, what do you have behind him? It's Mike Hughes as a veteran option. Like you can stomach him as your CB2. It's not pretty. And Clark Phillips, the question is health. Can he bounce back healthy? And with that being said, what do you have next? So it probably ends up between like low tier 2 and like mid tier 2 when it can function right now. Is it good? It's solid. Does it have room for error or injuries? Hell freaking no. Now, you also have to count that Xavier Woods definitely could, look about playing slot corner. I don't think it's the clearest transition for him. I think it's probably not what would suit him the best, but it could be that, which makes this a little bit interesting in terms of do you necessarily need to invest into the slot corner situation where you have Clark Phillips and potential for Xavier Woods. I don't think that's necessarily the case. Now, if you did, you kind of leave this room to just Sidney Brown and the one guy, Jesse freaking Bates, one of the best safeties in the game. But there is a problem with Jesse. Like last year, he was not playing like one, and it's not like 24 was one of his greatest years as well. So I'm a little bit worried where Jesse Bates lands this season. And if we've seen like kind of Marlon Humphrey type of, actually we think the veteran is really great and he suddenly isn't, I would not rule it out of the possibility. As it stands right now, as I rank these guys right now, Bates, Brown, and Watts, one of the best safeties room in the game, which absolutely justifies spending no resources whatsoever toward the safety room. Falcons, one of the most complicated teams that I'm doing in terms of researching and like thinking how I would approach this, because anytime I dig deeper and deeper into how I view Falcons, it just like increases my depression about this team. I really think they're in a bad spot. And yet they could absolutely go out and win their division next year and everybody is going to be like, what are you talking about? They're absolutely good. The division is not great. But what does it make of you? Like, I just don't see this roster building towards Super Bowl success. Like, I just don't see the timelines, man. I really don't. And I would like to see it. Like, I would like to see Bijan being a phenom in playoffs. I would, but I just don't. With the current roster construction, how guys are aging, how the contracts are being handed. Well, dire situation. What do you think, Falcons fans? Have I depressed you enough, or you think I'm a moron? Let me know in the comments. Bye-bye.